afternoon. Thank you for joining us at our first Lunch and Learn of the 24-25 school year. My name is Deborah Fiasco, and I work here at Special School District in the Family and Community Engagement Division. Our mission is to partner with students, families, and staff to support students' specialized academic, social and emotional needs, and to promote really self-determination and equitable opportunities and inclusion, authentic inclusion for all of our students. Just want to go over a couple of things today. This presentation is being recorded, but it's also shown on YouTube Live. You can use the comments section in YouTube, and the moderator will be able to give our presenter those questions. Opportunities like this cannot guarantee confidentiality, even though your screens are not shown and you're on mute. So in your questions, please be mindful of that and don't share any specific or identifiable information about your family member. If you require additional assistance, please let us know. And please also know that this presentation is being recorded and will be uploaded shortly. Wanted to just take one more quick second out of Chris's presentation to feature an upcoming event here with the Family and Community Engagement Department. We have a Family Academy coming up. It's September 28th from 9 to noon, and it's being held at Southview School. It's a really fun, wonderful learning opportunity for families to come together, have a little snacks and breakfast, but also have learning opportunities where you'll walk away with hands-on experience in some topics like numeracy, which is going to be a really fun one this year. It's about cooking and numeracy in elementary and middle school. We'll have a presentation on dyslexia. We'll have some information on transition and supported decision-making and the special education process. The other thing we have is community vendors, which Easterseals Midwest will be there as well as one of our community vendors. So you can visit with those vendors and find out about additional supports outside of the school system. So a really fun learning environment. It's going to be a great day. So join us on Saturday, September 8th from 9 to noon. The registration link is on our flyer. And if you have any other questions, you can come back to us and we will get you that information. So I wanted to introduce Chris Krieger. We're really grateful to have you with us today. She is the autism supervisor for Easterseals Midwest, and she's going to help us understand a little bit more about her agencies, the services and supports that they provide, and how families can really connect with Easterseals Midwest for additional services and supports. So I'm going to hand it over to Chris. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me. Hello, everybody. It's great to be here. I'm hoping that I can provide as much information for you regarding the services that we provide. I specifically work in the autism department. And with that, we serve all ages of individuals with autism. The youngest on my caseload has been like 18 months up to twin 44-year-olds. So we serve all ages in that department. The front door, as far as if you have a child, a teen, or young adult or adult with autism, and you are looking for some support services, the starting point would be to contact our admissions department, who would get you set up with family navigation. Family navigation is a phenomenal service. Regardless of where you live, you can start there, and they will help you, direct you to what services within our agency might be appropriate in supporting you, as well as connecting you with outside resources and services that you might be looking for. Even the transition services, like your students that may be aging out of school and looking for that. Okay, what do I do now? They're getting out of school. We also can direct you to, so they say they don't have an autism diagnosis yet, but you suspect it. We can help direct you to specialists in the area that do those assessments. So family navigation is the first place that you would start. Then after that, I'm just going to go through some of the services that our department, provides. We have parent or caregiver. Well, I'll go ahead and go by the slide here. So let's start with the peers social skills group. So we serve three different age groups for this. It's the UCLA program. It's data driven. We have the children's friendship training, which is um, for the younger kids under the age of 12, like through fifth grade. Uh, that is a 12-week program, and they come with their parent for 12 weeks and for an hour a week. And we go through a curriculum that scaffolds, and builds upon each other so they can learn to make and keep friends. Peers is that middle school, high school range. That's a 14-week program. Once again, you're coming with a parent or an adult. They are, the parents and the adults or the parents and the kids or the teens are in separate rooms going through the same thing. The parents are learning how to best support their child and going through the curriculum that we're teaching. And then we also have the Peers Young Adult program. That is for those that are 18 or older and finished with high school. For all three of those, we do have a pre-service assessment to determine if it's the right program for you and if you would be a good fit. So that is the social skills component. We also have pre-employment and pre-employment services. I'm not going to touch a lot on that just because that is out of my department. Once your child is over the age of 18, they qualify for, like some of our adult services. And it would be all disabilities. Our adult services serve all disabilities, not just autism. So keep that in mind. We have employment, pre-employment opportunities. Even the teens can get involved with some of the volunteering during the summers to check things out and to getting some of that experience. We have our LINK program, which is phenomenal. I've had 3 students, recent graduates in the last couple of years that have gone through that program. The LINK program is for those that are at the level where they could be competitively employed, but they need some of that hidden curriculum or soft skills gray area reviewed. We do different types of job exploration to see, what's out there and what type of field and what type of supports you might be needing. So that would be like our employment services. And the adult family navigators would direct you to that. Our ABA program, now the services for ABA are different, statewide, but here in St. Louis, we have an ABA clinic. We only do in-clinic services, and it is an academy. It's for those in the pre-K, pre-kindergarten, preschool age, where they can either attend half days or full days in the clinic. There's an assessment process, to see, but it is for early childhood. As far as the whole autism services overview and things that we provide, the main component would be our parent or caregiver training services. It can look at several different ways. We do in-home parent or caregiver training where one of us would come to the home and meet with you and do a combination of workshops, and they could cover anything from, communication, functions of behavior. How do we increase appropriate behavior? How do we decrease inappropriate behavior? Behavioral strategies, visual strategies, a lot of sensory needs. So we cover a lot of material, and then we also come up with objectives to work on with you because you're the one that's supporting your child. You're the one that's with them 24/7. So we're empowering you to learn these skills to work with your child. Now, it would be appropriate for your child to be there sometimes. It's not us coming in and working with your child directly all the time. It's not ABA. It is parent or caregiver training. So we would, at times come in there and model some of those skills, so you can see how it's done. With that, then we also have our intensive on-site parent training program where you would come with your child for 2 weeks, all day for 2 weeks, Monday through Friday, usually like 8 to 4, 8 to 3:30. Parents are going through a combination of the workshops, different hands-on activities, while the kids or students are following a schedule in the kids' room. Age range varies, from, early childhood to teenagers. Young teens, I think, is usually what we've had it go up to. And you are learning, for instance, day one, you would come in and, do some introductory stuff, but we would want to see you interact in one of our session rooms with your child or young teen, to see what brought you there, what behaviors you're trying to increase, what are you trying to decrease, what are the dynamics like? And that's your baseline session. Then we take over sessions from there, and we're conducting sessions 3 times a day. And you are watching via live feed through our computer lab. So we are going to set the expectation. We're going to model basic, learning protocol to the child. These are the expectations, and we're going to work with them on some of the goals that you want to work on. And then by the end of that first week, we start bringing the parent into the room, because we want the child to generalize that, yes, the rules are still going to be the same, even with mom or dad in the room. And we start having, pulling you into the conversation or praising the child. And then we fade ourselves out. We are in the computer lab, but we're coaching you through an earpiece while you take over, or the parent takes over the sessions. It's very fast, it's very intense, but it is phenomenal. We've gotten a lot of feedback, that it is a great program. And then on that last day, you are conducting a session without being coached. And so that final session, we're not in your ear coaching you what to say, how to say it, or what to do. And then the parents are going to compare their baseline session with their final session to see the changes that they have made in themselves and how it is affecting the dynamics of their relationship and skills and stuff working with their child. So it's a pretty cool thing. And like I said, it's fast paced, it's intense. A variation of that program is our on-site parent training program that is hybrid. The first week is the workshops are pretty much all condensed into week one, and we're just doing 2 sessions a day. And then that second week, the autism specialist is coming into your home for 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday, to work on generalizing those skills and doing sessions in the home with you and coaching you, doing sessions with your child in the home. So it's a great program. All 3 of them are wonderful. We have parents, that, I've got families that I worked with when the child was younger, and then, they completed the 8 to 10, 12-week in-home program. And then we've just stayed open for consults, which I'll talk about in a minute. But say, 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road, they said, hey, they're a teenager now, we're running into new problems. Can we get on the wait list again? Or can we get services again for parent training? Sure. We may not be doing all the workshops again. We'll maybe pull from them and touch on things, but work on issue-specific objectives with you, that you're dealing with right now. So if you live in the city or the county, that in-home parent training program is covered by Productive Living Board and DD Resources for city families. So there is no cost to that, which is wonderful. under that, I'll kind of talk about consults too. We can go out in the community with families. If you're getting parent training and say going to the store or going to the park is something that's tough to do, we can, rather than meeting you in the home, we can meet you out in the community and help model how to support. Or if you're more comfortable meeting in the community anyway, I have families that have limited time, multiple kids, where I've met a with a family in the medical field where they could just meet for their lunch hour virtually. So we do have a lot of ways to meet your needs. We try and meet you where you're at and make it flexible for you. Um, as far as the training and consultations with the families, we can help support you and help you navigate IEP process. We can do school observations where it's kind of helpful for us too, if we're doing parent training, for us to be able to go into the school and observe how the child functions across settings. And that way we can kind of help be that middle person. So everybody's on the same page in how they're responding to things. We also do community education, which kind of falls under that consultation component. We do CIT training, crisis intervention training for first responders. We can do, and some of it can be under the child's funding. If we're serving a certain family and a school would like, or an administrator would like, hey, can you come in and do a professional development for my teachers, like an Autism 101? Or we can work with the child's specific team to help brainstorm different ideas. We can, let's see, what else we do a lot of ability awareness, where we come in and present to students based upon their age. The presentations will look different in what it looks like and the length of time, but we come in and talk about autism. And that is a wonderful thing, because it's, knowledge helps empower the other students to show empathy and to help understand more what that diagnosis looks like. Let's see. We also do a lot of resource fairs too. Like I've been asked by SPED teachers to come in and, during student teacher conference, have a little table outside of their area for parents that might not be receiving any support services in the home that might be interested, where I can just be out front. And if anybody has questions, I can do that, or we can do that. We also offer Foundations of Autism, which is given maybe 8 or 9 months out of the year. It varies. It just kind of depends. But it's usually on a Saturday. Usually on Saturdays, I think 2 or 3 times a year. We offer it on Sundays. It goes from 9 to 3. And it's basically an Autism 101. If you have a child with a diagnosis, it's free, it's covered. Otherwise, there's just a small fee to attend. It's great. We have professionals come through. We've had parents that send, extended family through, like grandparents or babysitters. And it's wonderful because it helps, talk a little bit more about those that may have some preconceived ideas of what it looks like or how you should be responding. So that is a good thing. Let me see what I have missed.
And Chris, that was one of my questions that I was
Yes.
going to ask. So
Sure.
like in the parent training, we use the word parent. There's lots of family members. So you had talked about mom and dad. Is there
Or
opportunity
caregiver. We have a lot
for
of parents.
caregivers, grandparents,
Yes.
to participate in some of that parent
Absolutely.
training,
Like,
even if it's on site rather than in the home?
yes, if they want, if like, say for instance, parents are going to come through on-site parent training, but grandma and grandpa watch the child 3 days a week. We want everybody to be on the same page, because otherwise somebody may be reinforcing a behavior that you don't want reinforced. And if everybody's responding the same way, it makes it much easier. So yes, so we've had families come through with mom and dad, or mom and grandma, or, a main caregiver. The on-site parent training, that is not covered by county funding. That would be an admissions question. I know they sometimes have scholarships and things like that, or it can be covered by EMAP funding. Those kids that are under the age of 3 that receive services from First Steps may or may not be able to talk to their service coordinator about possibly getting some coverage for the cost. But same thing with in-home parent training. I've gone into the home where mom or dad or the caregivers, because sometimes the grandparents are the legal guardians, whatever that caregiver looks like, that's fine, whoever that is, but they'll invite grandma and grandpa to be over on the days that we come out and are giving the workshops and talking about different things and talking about the things that we're working on. Absolutely.
And I love that you talked about that there's follow-up too, because grandma and grandpa might be doing the provider care, and that
Right.
might not be the case all along. So that it's nice to hear that there is some follow-up. So would they just go through the admissions department? Like if they've
Yes, I
been
mean, if
through
you're
a
already,
training?
yeah, admissions is always the way to go. If you don't have
Okay.
any services or connection with us yet, admissions department would be where you would start out. You would call Easterseals main number, and I can give that to you now if you want, or it's on one of the electronic flyers of the 1-800 number, 1-800-200-2119, and just ask for the autism admissions department. And they, just say, I want to start with a family navigator. I want to find out more about what's out there, and get me pointed in the right direction, because it can be overwhelming as far as services. We also have respite services. In-home respite, we do have a wait list like everybody else nationwide because of a shortage of providers. But there are programs. There are not peers related, but we have like TGIF, for younger kids and for teenagers and for young adults, like social get-togethers. We have SIB shop for siblings of kids on the spectrum, where they get to come and do fun things. We've got parent support group that meets virtually once a month in the evening, like 8 o'clock. It's later, but parents are, we went that way because feedback was it was most convenient for parents, because I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to find a sitter for my child. I can just be at home from the comfort of my home and participate. So
Those were my next two questions, was I was going
yes,
to ask about
yes,
sim shops and support groups,
yes,
because it really is the whole family that we want to support
absolutely.
in gaining these skills and understanding both the autism and how to support that's individual the best. My other question was, you offer the foundations in autism. Where do your services, if they're not in home, are they typically at your
At,
office, at your
at
main
our
office?
Westline office over in the
Okay.
Westport area. Yes. Like
Okay.
foundations is at the office. Mhm.
All right, wonderful. And then you've mentioned a couple of different times that there is funding sometimes that is available
Right.
for these services and support. So again,
Yes.
just start with admissions and the Family
Yep.
Navigator, and they can
Absolutely.
help walk families through if they have health insurance, their medical insurance might
Yeah,
sometimes
that would apply more, yes, the
to the
medical
ABA.
insurance to the ABA clinic. Yeah, that's more insurance related.
Okay, but
So
your admissions people can help them
they
figure
have
out if
yes,
there's
that's
funding
out of
out
my
there.
wheelhouse.
We'll tell you where to go to get it. So
Okay.
that's wonderful.
Um,
I don't have any other
I do have one more
questions.
thing.
All
We
right,
do,
wonderful.
I also run our family events. I put on about 5 to 6 family events a year. For, like for typically for the families that we serve, sometimes, families outside of the if they're not getting services yet or whatever, um, they can register too. Um, we have gotten, let's see, Missouri Botanical Garden, I do, Ulysses S. Grant Historic Site, the Magic House. I This past January, I did my first event at the City Museum, which turned out to be a huge success. I have a Halloween coming up, a Halloween event, which is a small event It's in our building, so that's very limited registration. But um, and then we have milk and cookies with milk and cookies with Santa, which is end of the year, and it is typically at the DoubleTree in Chesterfield. All of these events, and our statewide ones, are listed on our website. The event dates are listed. Registration for events opens exactly 1 month ahead of time. There's a nominal fee. It's $1 per person. Which is wonderful because and our events are closed to the general public. So when we go to the botanical garden, it's typically on a Monday night, from, let's see, I think 5:30 to 8, or 5 to 8, and it's closed to the public. So everybody there is dealing with the same thing or something similar. So there's no need, a lot of times families are nervous about going to some of the fantastic venues that St. Louis has to offer because, oh, what if I pay this big fee and then I get there and 10 minutes in, my child has a behavior, and then I have to leave, or, I don't want people looking at me, or, there's just a little bit more caution. We limit we call them sensory friendly events. But we don't ask to see, your autism diagnosis or anything. However, we do our best to make things as sensory friendly as possible. It's not always going to be, it's never going to be 100%. Like the Magic House or City Museum, no, we'll lower the volume. We may, on certain things, we may lower lighting in certain areas and smaller numbers, for the venue. We'll limit registration so it's not as overwhelming. And we staff it along with whatever venue we have it, and we're all trained. So if somebody is having a problem, there's trained staff there that can help support you.
Oh, that's wonderful to know. And all that can just be found at the Easterseals Midwest website, correct?
Yes, you go and then we've got a bar across the top. You say go to get involved and then go to events. And then you would just scroll down to family events.
Wonderful.
But
Wonderful.
there's a lot of
Thank
other
you.
information there as well.
Oh, there's a ton. There's a
Yes.
ton. You could spend a lot of time on your website. Chris, thank you so much for being with us today and talking about all the wonderful. I know you only scratched the surface.
Yes.
You guys have been around for a very long time. You're a very comprehensive agency, and you do a great job of serving our families. I've had lots of families go through family training and over the years, and they have said it's life training. So thank you so much for being here with us today
Oh,
to
thank you
share
for
this
having
with
me.
our families. I hope that you gain something if you joined us or you join us later on at this Lunch and Learn. This was the first of this semester. Our next one, we're covering Mo Abel's account. So somebody from the state treasurer's office is going to talk to us about saving for your child's future. We also have hub huddles. We have one coming up in a couple of days where the Community Action Agency comes to our hub at North County Technical High School, and we'll sit with families and help them with resources. And then we have our wonderful cafe that starts October 2nd at North Tech. And then we've got one second semester at South Tech. So please contact FACE if you need additional resources or supports about today's Lunch and Learn or any of the information you got today, or for any of our upcoming events. You can always reach us at face@ssdmo.org. Our main number, 314-989-8460, or look at us on the webpage. You will have a code today to tell us how this went. So we'd love to have your feedback. Thanks again, Chris, for joining us today. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And thank you all for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
Whether you're here today or you're watching us on YouTube later on.